Hey, Ben, this is Nick from Oregon.
Nick, how's it going, man?
Hey, it's going good. First of all, just want to shout out to the whole audience. Remember to become a patron, show some love to the Benjamin Dixon Show.
Absolutely. Thanks, man. I
Uh,
definitely appreciate it and
oh,
appreciate your support.
oh, of course, of course. So I was just wanted to pop in real quick. You don't have to spend too much time on this, but I don't know if you've heard about the DeRay, Nomiki, and kind of Reign of April arguments going on right now.
No, I've been off Twitter working on the studio all day, but I mean, Rain of April, tell me about it. What's going on?
Totally. So essentially, just Nomiki kind of put out there today that DeRay kind of has a lot of conflicts of interest. You know, being a correspondent on the DNC transition team, and then all the endorsements and stuff, and then speaking about the whole Pepsi commercial. Like, there's a lot of
Yeah,
discussion about kind of commercialization of
the
protesting and
movement. Yeah.
activism. And so from multiple people talking to Nomiki, the idea is that there's two strains. That derays, you've mentioned this before, that kind of derays neoliberalism,
Hmm.
kind of the selling out of things. And then there's another strain that specifically Reign of April talked about, which was about how activists, black or otherwise, are often expected to be broke, or
Mm,
not expected to take money for
yeah.
their kind of work. And so I know that while you have an opinion on DeRay's, specific, how he goes about his business, I'm curious about what you think about, that strain where,
Yeah.
what's the difference between getting paid for the work that you do as opposed to just selling out the resistance for quick cash.
Yeah. Yeah. Great question. Almost a tough
Cool.
question. Um, and thanks for the call, man. It's almost a tough question for me because Raina April is my homegirl. I'm just like, full disclosure, right? We're just having a conversation. That's my sister from another mister. So even if I disagree with her, I usually don't disagree with her publicly. We go to our DMs and we argue it out there. I don't think that's actually even relevant in this conversation. But I want to give a full disclosure. The reason I don't think it's relevant is because she's right. In the sense that there are a lot of people who are actively, and this does not necessarily include DeRay. DeRay is a different beast of his own, right? But there are a lot of activists who are damn near homeless and broke. And the thing is that there is going to be money involved in not so much the activism, but the organizations that are built. There are people who have to be hired. There are infrastructures that are going to be built. There's going to be funding that's going to be found. And, the last thing I'm going to do, think about it this way. I'm going to use myself as an example. I'm getting paid now to do commentary every night. Every night I get paid to do that. Now, what does it look like for me to say that someone who is out there doing the work shouldn't get paid? I'm just giving commentary and I get paid. Don't get paid a lot, but I get paid. Probably get paid more soon. But the point is, what kind of disingenuous ass would I be to say that someone who's out there on the front lines should not get paid for their consistent work that they're doing? Now, there's a difference between getting paid for the work that you do and just cashing out on the movement, right? And selling out the movement, right? There are foundations that you can build a foundation, get funding for your foundation. There's all kinds of things that you could do to support yourself. But the McDonaldization of the movement, like the Pepsi commercial, is the best example, right? That's like the extreme example of what could be done when someone wants to cash in on the movement. And that's the best example of slow down, slow your roll. You're really just pimping the movement and you're not really contributing anything to the movement. I think it really boils down to, what are you contributing and what are you receiving? Like, is it commensurate? If you're getting paid $100,000 to go to a protest, there's something wrong there. But I don't really know of anyone who's getting paid anything. Like, George Soros is not cutting those checks that much. He's not really cutting those checks at all, as far as I know. I haven't gotten any, but he's not cutting. People are not getting paid like that. But again, I'm going to keep it simple. If people do the work, they should get paid. If people are sacrificing their careers in order to keep a movement going and sustained, there's no reason in the world that we should expect them to be poor. just for the sake of, it's like, let's bring it home to something we all can understand on my side of the aisle, right? It's like expecting Bernie Sanders to be poor his entire life simply because he's advocating for socialism or democratic socialism, right? It's this game that people try to play to say, oh, you're advocating for an egalitarian society, then how dare you have $100,000 in the bank, right? And so what it does is it makes people who are less aware of this game, it makes them scramble. Right? It makes them scramble and say, well, maybe I shouldn't make this money. Maybe I shouldn't make, and then they end up unable to do anything effective for the community or for the nation because they're broke. You cannot operate in this capitalistic system that we still have to live in without getting paid. You have to pay your bills. And so if your work is commensurate with what you're getting paid, I've got no problem with you. If your work is activism and you're out there doing the work, how dare I say that you shouldn't get paid, because I'm getting paid just giving commentary almost to your work. Now, when you start getting race car jackets and you're sponsored by Doritos and you're sponsored by Pepsi and you're sponsored by, you're just as bad as Congress, that's a problem. You're cashing out, you're pimping the game, and for what? I think the best way to summarize it is one by one, individual by individual. We can't make a blanket statement on this. I don't think in any way we can make a blanket statement other than to say, if you do the work, I have absolutely no problem with you getting paid because you're out there doing the work, and I'm here getting paid to comment and give commentary on your work. Granted, I built this, right? There's a difference, right? I built this and YouTube can do the best they can, but they're not going to put me out of business. So that's a little bit different, but I digress. I want to know your opinion on that. That's actually a great conversation. I wasn't privy to it. I'm kind of glad I wasn't, because I would have got sucked into it and kind of in a, really discombobulated way, because I'm everywhere on that. Like, I see what Nomiki is saying. I probably would have had no comment on what DeRay had to say, but I agree with what April was saying from what the caller just said, or the reign of April, from what the caller just identified.